Hi everyone, welcome to Tim Talks. I'm Tim Bucher of Trattori Farms, and today we're going to give you an update on what's going on in the vineyards. It's a very exciting time in the growing season, and it's when we hit what's called veraison. And what that means is that the grapes, the red grapes, are starting to get ripe, and the white grapes are starting to turn ripe as well. You can see here, I'm standing in the middle of one of our Zinfandel blocks, and you can see that the clusters are starting to ripen up and get purple. Some of them are not. Some of them still have a lot of green in it. And so we've started to pull some leaves to expose the clusters to get them even more ripe. And we want them to ripen evenly. So one of the ways that we also help them ripen evenly is we take clusters that maybe are not fully colored up in just a little bit, and we actually take them off and throw them on the ground. So we actually drop some fruit. And most of our blocks, we drop a little bit of fruit so that the remaining fruit is much higher quality and ripens up evenly. So let's go check out some other parts of the vineyards. And I especially want to show you how our grafting project is doing, which I talked about maybe 2 months ago. All right, so let's check it out. I'm in one of the blocks that has been grafted over from Tim Talk, you may recall 2 months ago or so. We had on how the grafting process works. And as you can see, we now have these vines that are growing quite nicely out of the rootstock that we literally just lopped off when we did the grafting project. Not only are the vines growing like crazy, but we also have a lot of clusters. So grapes are actually coming out on these vines. Now this year, we're not going to use this fruit. We're going to cut it off and just drop it down and compost it in between the rows. And next year we might do the same, but the year after, this will be wonderful Cinsault, Counoise, different clones of Syrah, and we also grafted Picpoul. So I'm thrilled with how the grafting project worked, and we probably got about 95% yield, and then we'll catch the rest next year. So that's a little bit about what's going on with our grafting project. Now we are in my favorite block of all, which is our Grenache Block. Throws the most beautiful clusters when it's fully ripened. And again, we're here in the Grenache where veraison has taken place. It's starting to color up. And Craig, I found him here in the Grenache, wandering around. And I said, Craig, come on over here. Let's talk more about dropping fruit. So Craig, why don't you explain a little bit more about what we are looking for in dropping fruit in addition to what I talked about earlier?
So there's places, and especially in Grenache, which tends to send a very big crop, there's places where we get what's called a fruit basket. And a perfect example would be something right here. You can see how all these clusters are sort of tangled together. That's a prime location for diseases like botrytis and things like that to occur. So I'll send the guys through. They have special shears that are they're called fruit thinning shears, and they'll trim off some of the shoulders and like that, just to sort of alleviate that congestion that's in there. It'll probably end up being about between 20 and 25%, I think, of the total crop that's out here.
It will drop on the ground, and it'll just compost right in the rows, so we don't have to worry about picking it up. It's actually good for the environment, isn't it?
Feeds the birds.
Feeds the birds, too. And the wild turkey, which love ripe grapes. So that's one of our big nemesis here during the growing season. And one of the ways we combat that is with a bird calling system. So, Craig, you want to explain a little bit about our bird calling system?
Sure. So this thing has 3 remote speakers that we mount around the ranch in different locations. And the controller actually has a pre-programmed set of like 7 different types of birds. And
yeah, it has birds of prey, and it has birds in distress.
Exactly.
So the birds of prey are like the eagle and the red-tailed hawk.
Mm-hmm.
And then the birds in distress are the crow and other things that like to eat the grapes in distress. So,
and that's usually on from about veraison until actually we pick, and then we can shut it off.
Yeah. So when folks stay in the guest house, they have these beautiful bird calls that they enjoy, huh?
Yeah, and the best part about it, it starts at dawn.
It's called an alarm clock, folks. So come and stay in our guest houses. All right, well, that's our Grenache block. We are now in the middle of one of our olive groves. Actually, we have lots of different varietals on the ranch, about 20 different varietals. So the other thing that's happening during this growing season is not just the grapes are getting ripe, but the olives are starting to develop on pretty much all the varietals here. Now, it's going to be a little bit of a lighter year because olives are alternate year bearing. So last year was a really big harvest. this year is going to be a much smaller harvest, but nonetheless a great harvest. So super exciting times. I hope you got to learn a little bit more about what the status is in the vineyards and in the olive groves. And we just love making great wines and great oils for you, our wonderful customers. And thank you to all of our supporters. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Really appreciate all of your support on that as well. And with that, we'll see you again in 2 weeks. So thanks for watching Tim Talks, and we'll see you again. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.